Today we are gonna look at the 15 most mind-blowing discoveries of 2016. Number 15. The largest known prime number. As of January 2016, the largest known prime number known so far is 274,207,281. This is a number with 22,338,618 decimal digits, and it smashes the last record held by 5 million digits. Number 14. The mysterious ninth planet of the solar system. The hunt for a ninth planet in our solar system began decades ago, but it wasn't until this year that its existence was proven. Previously, theoretical cosmology only speculated about a giant world existing beyond Neptune. But now, this hypothetical world looks more real than ever. Number 13. The eternal 5D storage. In February 2016, however, scientists from Southampton made a spectacular presentation of their discovery: a digital data storage capable of surviving for billions of years. The memory disks are made of nanostructured glass, and besides storing 360 terabytes on a single 5D disk, these are thermally stable at temperatures up to 1000 degrees Celsius, and the imprinted spots won't degrade over time. Number 12. The climbing killer fish. If somebody told you they just saw a fish that can walk, and climb trees, and choke birds before swallowing them, you'd probably think they've seen a new Jurassic Park movie. However, it's very possible that they are not lying or inventing things. Especially if they have just returned from Papua New Guinea. Such a fish does exist, and it could be spotted on a still limited area in this region. Number 11. The cyber implant that moves the fingers of a paralyzed man. The cybernetic human may soon be not only an essential attribute of many sci-fi movies. In the foreseeable future, the wearable tech will become an anachronism, and the technological devices will be instead implanted into our bodies. Actually, the future is already here. Last spring, an electrical device was implanted in a paralyzed man's brain. Connected to a sleeve of electrodes on his forearm, it helped him move his hand, wrist, and fingers for the first time since his spinal cord injury 5 years earlier. Number 10. The successful rocket landing on a drone ship. And again, some might exclaim, why is it such a big deal? In the movies, they do it all the time. Spaceships land on other planets all the time. In reality, however, the process of landing a rocket is extremely complicated. And, until April 8th of this year, impossible in practice. Traditionally, rocket boosters fall into the ocean after launch. But not this time. For the first time ever, the Falcon 9 descended for a non-explosive land on a drone ship. This landing is remarkable in regards to the development of reusable, relatively low-cost spaceflight. In that direction, SpaceX's Falcon 9 has already changed spaceflight by decreasing the cost of each launch from roughly $60 million to about $600,000. Number 9. The plant that turns carbon dioxide into rock. Seriously, you cannot expect a country of 331,000 inhabitants living on an isolated island to have a carbon dioxide problem. Yet, it's entirely possible. Iceland relies heavily on geothermal heat and hydropower, both renewable sources, to generate electricity. A very small amount of carbon dioxide originates in volcanic rocks. Back in 2007, Reykjavik Energy started a project called CarbFix, which aimed at dissolving the carbon dioxide in large volumes of water and pumping it afterwards into porous, basaltic rock. The process involves a chemical reaction that turns the carbon dioxide into carbonate. Number 8. The scientific explanation of head tingles. Have you ever had that tingling sensation in the back of your head or neck at the sound of whispering or the crinkling of plastic? If yes, then you should probably be interested in knowing that what you feel to be close to an orgasm has a scientific name, which is Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, or ASMR. This year, they published the results of their survey of 500 volunteers, who were asked to describe their bodily sensations from various sensory stimuli. The data showed that 69% of the people they interviewed reported to have used the ASMR videos to help ease their symptoms of insomnia, anxiety, and depression, and, surprisingly, only 5% of them used them as sexual stimulation. Number 7. The second moon. Yes, it is a fact we have 2 moons now. The newly discovered one is really small, only 120 feet across and 300 feet wide, but in no way young. It has likely orbited the Earth for 100 years, and it seems it is here to stay for some more centuries. The mini-moon, which is actually an asteroid, was discovered on April 27 by a telescope located in Hawaii, and was named 2016 HO3. Number 6. The eyeless prodigy worm. Superheroes are not necessarily dressed in funny tight costumes and capable of stopping a moving train with only a finger. Superheroes can be, in fact, a millimeter long and still possess some superpower. Like the tiny, eyeless roundworm going by the name of Caenorhabditis elegans, which has a new type of light-detecting cell that is 50 times more efficient at capturing light than its counterpart in the human eye. Number 5. Discovering the mathematical algorithm of our intelligence. For years, neuroscientists and computer experts have been curious about how the brain is able to not only store information, but also to categorize and generalize it into abstract concepts. The lucky guy who came up with the most plausible hypothesis about the design behind our complex brain computations is a neuroscientist at the Medical College of Georgia. He came up with an algorithm, N equals 2I1, which defines how many cliques, or groups of similar neurons, will come together into bigger clusters to handle every possibility in a situation. In other words, the more cliques, the more complex the thought. Number 4. The farting fish. Some fish do fart. Scientists from UK and Canada almost simultaneously came to that exciting discovery. Biologists have finally linked the underwater high-pitched noise to the bubbles coming out of the herring's anus. Until this year, the biologists were not sure why herring make the sound, but now they know for sure this is their way of keeping together after dark. Unlike the human fart, the one coming from the fish's anus is not caused by digestive gases. It is produced for the purpose of communication, the evidence for which is, firstly, the fact that herring fart only after dark, which can mean that the sound allows them to locate each other. Number 3. The mystery of out-of-body experiences solved. Some people, especially if they've been in a coma, claim they've experienced astral trips, that is, floating outside their bodies and watching themselves from the outside. So far, there has been no scientific evidence that there is a consciousness, or soul, which is separate from the physical body. No matter how skeptical the scientists are in general, there is a group of people at the University of Ottawa who got so curious about the matter that they started looking for a plausible scientific explanation of the out-of-body travels phenomenon. While performing tests on volunteers, MRI scans showed strong deactivation of the part of the brain that makes you feel where your body is in relation to the world. The scientists came to the conclusion that the experience is real, but only in the sense that people actually experience it. This doesn't mean that their soul travels outside their bodies. Number 2. The stem cells treatment to repair a damaged spinal cord. Spinal cord injuries often lead to full immobilization for life, which is always a devastating fact. Till now, the patients have had little or no hope at all of regaining lost movement and feeling in their limbs. But now there is light at the end of the tunnel. A team of scientists, led by researchers at the University of California, San Diego, succeeded in using a specialized type of stem cell to regrow nerve tissue in damaged spinal cords. They used immature neural stem cells which are designed to develop into nerve cells, establishing connections with other cells as they grow. For the first time, it was possible to regenerate nerve cells at the junction between the brain and the spine. Number 1. The gene mutation that created us all. Until this year, scientists had been sweating over the fundamental question of how life made this remarkable leap. A team of evolutionary biologists from Atlanta, Georgia finally found a culprit for this leap-alone gene capable of turning single-celled organisms into multicellular organisms. They have a hypothesis that a twist like this in the DNA of ancient organisms allowed complex life to evolve. The tiny change in the DNA sequence caused a protein, very much similar to the one used in beer brewing, to switch from its generic role as an enzyme to a new one that became essential for the arrangement of the multicellular structures.